A very good evening to you. Leaders are readers, and we are busy with the book from Og Mandino. And as you can see, the greatest miracle in the world. And with me, my co-host, Daniel van Sale, and we are just so excited. Tonight we are tackling chapter 7. It's a very unique chapter. In fact, it had me thinking and all the time in terms of how different it is. So, Daniel, why did you just hit it off by starting with the first paragraph? Go for it.
That let's start the anticipation. The thick brown manila envelope rested ominously on my desk on a Monday that I shall never forget. Ooh.
Now, just imagine you walking into your office and there's this envelope lying there for you, and you sort of have an expectation, is this it? Is this what I've been waiting for?
Yeah.
Now, Daniel, if I just think through our lives, how often do we go through life and there is an expectation of something that we're hoping will come in and the timing will be right, and all of a sudden, when you don't expect it, boom, there it is lying on the table. What goes through your mind? What would you experience if let's say in your life
It's
that was there?
it,
I'll tell you what I would think. What,
it,
what
it
happens?
it's a time of bewilderment. Is it or isn't it? Is it or isn't it? It's like you just don't know. Is it there or is it not there? Is this the thing I was waiting for, or somebody playing a prank on me or whatever? So is that instant of bewilderment where you don't know if it's left, right, or center where it is.
100%. And obviously, we all know by now we're in chapter 7, we know what he is waiting for, because the previous visit,
Yes.
he literally was saying, um, I'm surprised that Og Mandino did not ask me about the letter. But anyway, that's just what ensued. And they just had a great time together, very memorable.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, just when he wasn't expecting it, boom, here's this envelope on Og Mandino's desk. Now, I can tell you, if that had to happen to me and I've been waiting for something, to the extent that I've forgotten about it, it would really smack me in the face in terms of, oh my gosh, it's the time now. So the point is here,
Yeah.
time waits for no man, because you and I are not in control
Yes.
of our own time schedule. In fact, the only thing that you cannot actually negotiate is time, because whether you like it, there's only 24 hours in a day. And my question to all of us would be, Daniel, I'm going to ask you, just to lead it as a co-host here. In the 24 hours of a day, what would you say are, say, 3 key ingredients or 3 key things that you think we should consider doing or be part of to make every day count? What does your day look like?
Well, your first thing you need to wake up. I always start there. So, uh, every time you wake up, it's a blessing, because some people go to bed and never wake up again. So that's what I would always say is, like, you need to feel grateful for the day, by beginning that, being grateful for actually waking up from the sleep you've been in. Whether it's a good sleep or bad sleep doesn't matter. It's the waking up that's important. So be grateful for that. And I don't know if you guys do it, but write it down in maybe in a journal. Go in front of God and thank Him or your God, or whatever person or entity you pray to. Thank Him for adding another day to you to your life. Then I would say, plan your day out. Everybody's got different routines in a day, and then you go through the day, and obviously you need to eat somewhere in between. So I always start with a coffee. My eating in the morning is everything is a coffee. After a coffee, I'm good for the day. And then in the evening, then I always say, it's like, you need to pray and thank God for the day you've got, or thank the person or whoever your creator is. Thank them for the day they've given you, whether it's a good day or a bad day, or some good stuff happen or bad stuff happen. So that's what I would do, or my day would go. And you will later on see where the book fit into that routine.
That's why I asked the question, because for myself, I'll be honest with you, when my little eyes pop open, the first thing I do is, thank you, Lord. Thank you for a new day. Because I just think every day is another day of blessing. Because remember, I told you
Yeah.
guys long ago that in 2007, I was shot. And the one thing I took out of that is that, oh my gosh, I made it. I made it through that period. And every single day now is a gift to live. So for me, it's thank you that I have another day to live. Yes, and I do write my thank yous in a gratitude journal, because I can tell you one thing, if you do it every single day, you have to really think creatively, because and I challenge our listeners to do the same. The first day, yeah, thank you for that I can breathe. Thank you for this. Thank you for that. But by the time we hit week 2, week 3, to write down 5 things that you're grateful for is actually quite challenging because it makes you stretch your mind. And I'd like to encourage you that you do that and maybe even pop in the comments, what are your 5 first ones just to start off with? And then as the day ensues, I then pursue my goals. I first always do some exercise if I can because I like to, I'm not letting the old man in. I took that from Clint Eastwood. I do my exercise like I ran a good 10K this morning. I love doing it. It was just good. And then do the priorities. But the first priority of my exercise is always to make sure that my wife has got a cup of coffee in her hands. Because if she has coffee, the day is beautiful. So, my priority is to give her a cup of coffee. And I love it because
Yeah.
it just shows that she's important in my life. And the thing I do at the end of the day is I ask myself, what are the 2 things that I actually did today that added value to someone else? So I review that every single day. And that I got from my mentor, one of my mentors in leadership, which is John Maxwell. At the end of the day, what are the 2 things that he did today that actually had impact? So that's what my day looks like. So to our listeners, we challenge you. Just review, what does your day look like? What is important to you? And maybe to consider to have your own gratitude journal as we look at how we look at our day. Because why? Time waits for no man. Now we have the
Nobody.
scene. We have the scene, the envelopes of the desk. And then all of a sudden, he starts thinking up. He picks up the envelope and he's like, there's a bit of a horror and a panic. And he sees that in European script on the front with a combination of horror and panic. In the upper left-hand corner, this is on page 74 in the book, by the way, where one normally puts a return address, the words, a farewell gift from an
A farewell
old...
gift from an old ragpicker.
You got it.
So he knows who it's coming from. Who sent
At
this?
least he knows this came from Simon.
The sender.
The sender, because from the old rag picker. Now, remember the term rag picker. Can you just help us again, Daniel? What is a rag picker in this context?
Ragpicker is in this context or in this book, it's about somebody who picks up people from a bad place and showing them there's a way out. So people that's given up on life, basically giving them hope again.
Perfect. And then we notice on page 75, there was no postmark on this brown envelope. In other words, it must have been hand delivered. No doubt.
And delivered.
All right. So now all of a sudden, old Og Mandino is perplexed. He drops the thing and he dashes out of the office and he calls Pat. And he said, she's sort of expecting, because he's just come back from holiday, like a welcome back. And she looks at him and says, what's the matter? And he grabs it and says, when did I get this? Because he's been waiting for this envelope for so long that he now literally just about rips her throat out. Where did I get this? Okay. And then he finds out she doesn't know.
Doesn't know.
And then what he does.
And it's also about that thing is maybe, just before that, he was away again on his business. I think it was 10 days. He was away for book signings and stuff like that. So he's sort of like in that mood, like, oh, damn, I miss Simon. Why did I miss him? I mean, he delivered this. I missed him. Is he still here? Sort of like, where is he? I want to say hello to him. So I think that went through his mind as well. That's why he went back to like, when did it come? Did it come now? Where is he? Is he still in the building or what?
I want to agree.
I think that's part of anticipation as well.
He wanted to see Simon because remember what happened last chapter? Simon kissed him right here on the head. I mean, so intimate in terms of thank you, Og. Thank you for my present that you sent me that is now on that first floor, that uranium glass that gets alive day after day, year after year. So there's this affinity for each other. And he wants his mentor, because remember, they sat hours talking to each other. So now Pat says, no, he's not there. So what does he do next? He goes down the passageway and he gets all, where's Barbara?
Ask the janitor, because, or he first asked you, the lady who that was there, where was it? I think it's the janitor. He asked, who did you let in? So he first tried to figure out, is there somebody else in the building that maybe have seen him?
And the answer
was no. Before everybody else.
And when he spoke to Barbara Voigt, he spoke to V. So he went by person to person, because why? He frantically was like, listen, guys. In fact, he's sort of acting like he's a little bit angry that he didn't have the opportunity to meet Og in person. And here's the guy back from leave, and already he's rattling cages. Now, just imagine if you are in corporate business, you know, they say when at home, when mommy ain't happy, no one ain't happy. I mean, that's a bumper
Mm,
sticker for you. When mommy ain't happy, no one is happy. But I can tell you in the corporate world, when the boss walks in and you can see he's cloudy and he's moody, wow, it rattles everybody cages because you don't expect it, because that leader is normally expected to be solid and not to rattle the people. But when he does, everybody is running around. And that's sort of the whole feeling I got. I got this feeling of it's causing a bit of anguish and expectation, and then you can't find out where it is. And he says, V, did you open this morning? Yes, I always do. I know. Did
yes.
anyone deliver this package to you? No. Did you see any strangers in the hall? No. And then he says, no one except Charlie, the janitor. And quite right. So he actually then grabs hold of the janitor, and the janitor says, no, boss, never saw it. Well, that is really,
Yes.
he went from person to
Oh,
person.
nobody. Yeah.
So now we go to page 76. Where does his mind go back to? I just see that car park. I just see the snow. What happened there, Daniel?
Yes. Go back to where it all started. Maybe go see, because it's just across the road. So might as well go see if Og is at home.
If Simon is at home, 100%.
Ah, sorry, Simon is at home. Yeah.
Correct. But, I think that is a good rule for us to actually live our lives by. Let's say you and your wife are in a mall, and for some reason, you decide that you both want to go to the public convenience, or you decide you want to split and go to separate stores. A golden rule is to go back to the place where you last were together. That way, you will
Yeah.
always find each other. In fact, it happened to me on this Sunday. We went to the National Youth Horse Championships, and my wife went to the ladies. I went to get us a cold drink, and we missed each other. But what I did was, I went back to the place where we normally meet. I got there, she wasn't there, put down the cold drinks, and then went the other route to see if I can find her. When I couldn't find her for 2 minutes, by the time I went back to the spot, there she was. She said, "Ha, when I saw the cold drinks, I knew that you were here." So just a rule to help you through life. If you want to take that as a bit of a practical tip, always go back to the spot where you were together the last time. How does that work? Brilliant.
Trace back. Yeah, it works.
Okay. So now here I see Og Mandino running up the stairs. Like he jumps 2 stairs at a time and he knocks on the door of the department. And the door flings open. And what does he see? Does he see Simon? Answer?
No, a lady standing there is like with a child in her hand. Is like, okay, that's odd.
I mean, for a moment, I thought, is it maybe his mother? Is it somebody
Yeah.
that he knows? Or when
Yeah.
you looked at the state of the woman and the baby, you thought maybe it's one of those ministry things, but somebody in your place, look after them, etc. And
Yeah.
and he says, do
Mr.
you know
Potter, please.
Mr. Potter? I said,
Yeah.
who's Mr. Potter?
Ooh.
I said, what do you
The
mean?
old man that lived here.
The old man lives here. And he
Yeah.
couldn't believe it. And after a while, she gets angry. Look, Mac, my name is Johnson. I lived in this dump for 4 years, and I damn
Yes.
well ought
Yeah.
to know that ain't nobody here named Potter. You get it?
And
Now
that name of she's calling him Mac means like, hey sir, listen here, you with no name. So when she calls Og Mac means like, it's like, yeah, she means business.
And that is when like somebody looks at you and say, "Hey, buddy," but it's buddy
Yes.
with
Yes.
inverted commas. Yeah,
Yes.
we do get into trouble, but I mean, it's just crazy. And he looks
Yeah.
at her in dismay. And what would you do if you've been to? Can you remember the name on the number on the door, Daniel?
21.
21. He looks at the door, it's 21. He pushes her a little bit aside and he looks. And what does he find? The entire place looks
It's different.
and
It's
he is
not the same
bewildered.
place.
What on earth happened here? And he just cannot think what happened. In fact, he was so rude and basically in motion to check and look for Simon that he pushes her out of the way until she says, "Get out of
Yes.
here." Now, I'm just putting myself in the circumstance. If you've been visiting Simon Potter regularly, when you walked in, you saw the wall with the books, you saw the two chairs where you sat, you talking to each other, and all of a sudden, the chairs are not there, the books are not there, and yes, another person in the apartment. You're like, dude, am I the right number? You go back to the door and check the number. You'll think you're in the wrong. You'll
Yeah.
think you're in the wrong place. but he sees that.
Yeah, so somehow you in that stage, did I lose it? Am I in the wrong building, or what?
Exactly.
Somewhere something doesn't add up. The numbers doesn't add up.
And then he asks her, just to make sure, it says, she says she's been there for 4 years. Okay, can you tell me, who
Yes.
lives left and right of you? And what does she say? Well, there's an older Italian lady this side, there's a black
Older lady.
now there, and there ain't a guy called Potter. If there was, I would
Yes.
have known. I find it fascinating. I sort of feel the sense of disappointment of Og Mandino. I sort of feel his anxiety in terms of, is this real? Am I in a dream? Like,
Yes. Yes.
wake up. Doesn't it sometimes it happens to us that we ask ourselves the question, is this reality or is this a dream? Does that ever happen to you, Daniel?
Yeah.
Where you're not sure is this a dream or reality?
Yeah, you get that flashes of like, is this real, or what they call deja vu? The French word of you living something in a dream that's way back, and it's like, yeah, I don't know so well what's going on. Things are not adding up.
And often in our lives, it happens that you get to a place and think to yourself, I've been here before. Or
Yes.
you actually meet somebody and say, I know you. And they go like, no, you don't know me from a bar of soap.
No.
But I think that happens to all of us because it could be that the
Yeah.
person reminds us of the person. It could be that it's the way that they're talking, but we do, all of us do that.
Yeah.
Well, then he said, he basically finds that he looks at the door number, it's 21, and he realizes, no. And he starts now thinking to himself, am I crazy? And then he asks, he finds the janitor of that building and he says to him, how long have you
Yes.
been here? And how many years was he there, Daniel? At the bottom of the page,
Long.
77.
Yes, been
11
years.
years in February.
In February, yeah.
And then he sort of said to me, okay, hold on. And then I think Og asked a very good question. There was an old man. He looked a bit like
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln. He had a dog that was a basset. And are you sure you haven't, wasn't he maybe a tenant? And what does the janitor say?
No, they don't allow dogs. So that's the first clue. They say, no, there was nobody like that over there, because you would have known, because they don't allow dogs in the building.
They don't allow any dogs in the building. I'll be honest with you, Daniel. I read up to this point and think, WTH, what? I mean,
What the hell
come
is
on.
going on?
This is 11 years. The guy's been here. He doesn't allow dogs in the building. And yet we know that Og visited Simon over and over and over in that room, the 2 chairs, the books there. And it's like, buddy, is there something wrong with you? So where's the first place you'll go and look? He hits it off to the police station. And he actually reports a missing
He's
person.
at this moment this is basically the start of that paranoia. It's like, is it real? Is it not real? Where I think he's sort of starting doubting himself as well. That paranoia part of it. And yeah, that's the next thing. So okay, if nobody here knows, let's go to the next step. Is like, find out maybe if the police or somebody else knows where he might be. Maybe something happened to him. Maybe he moved. Maybe he got injured or whatever. And that's where, as you say, he goes for the next step.
And
because he needs to find Simon, and it's just that clarity to like for Og has it been a dream or is it reality? Just to connect those two again. I think that is what's going through his mind at the moment.
And you know what is beautiful? For that moment, he's forgotten about the envelope. He wants to know where is Simon Potter. I mean, come on, dude. Or am I losing my marbles? I think if I was in the same situation, I would have done exactly the same. So then we found that he went down to the police station, Foster Avenue police station, and then he said, why are you here? And he says there, someone is missing. I had a friend who lived in an apartment in Winthrop Street. I've known him for more than a year. I've been away from my office a couple of weeks. When I got back this morning, there was a package on my desk with my name and address and some words in the upper left-hand corner and a farewell gift. And it said, what was in the package? And Og goes, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it hit the reality, hit him in terms of he didn't even open the envelope. But yeah, he's running around looking for Simon Potter. Well, he wasn't there. And then he kept on telling the story. You want to take it from here? He went to the police station. Then what did he do then?
He obviously went to the police. Yeah, the police said, okay, we don't know anybody like that. We haven't arrested or seen somebody like that or somebody in for that. So you need to go to the next stage and maybe to the hospital and see if maybe something happened to him.
Now, can you imagine? By now, he must really be worried. He goes to the police station, doesn't find him there. Nobody's reported that. They recommend, well, why don't you go to the hospital? He goes to the hospital, and the hospital saying,
yeah.
Ain't here.
Nobody.
And then the hospital says, well, why don't you go to...
Then the darker side came. Yeah.
Why don't you go to the morgue? Oh, my gosh.
Go to the morgue.
I tell you, when I read that, I thought, no. I don't want to hear it. But, that is reality. If you're looking for a missing person, you'll go through the logic of the police,
the system, yeah,
the hospital, but you have to go through the morgue, because what if?
Yes.
What if is he there? Because maybe that will explain why you had the lady with the red curly hair and the infant in her arm in the apartment where she shouldn't have been. Okay?
Yes.
And then we just see on the top of page 80, he says there, sir, we have one identified who fits the age and general description. Do you want to take a look? Now let's just stop there. Daniel, that was you. And the guy says, look, I've got somebody in one of those trays. Sort of suits the description. What would have happened to your heart?
That saying, it skipped a beat.
It would have skipped a beat.
Maybe it would skip 2 or 3.
Absolutely. I mean, it's crazy.
So yeah,
but it could
because
be.
you don't know. You don't know. It's just that thing of the unknown. I mean, even in life as well, we sometimes get to the point of the unknown, and it's scary. It's a scary place because you just don't know. And this is the only way you're going to find out if it is or if it isn't, or if this is your answer, then this is where the answer will be. And sometimes it's scary to go through that, but you have to get through that to get to the answer.
And the scary part is this. I'm a behavior modification specialist, so I know people's behavior. I know that if Og Mandino, most probably he was a driver, he felt totally out of control. And boy, when a driver personality is out of control, nothing works. I mean, they get jittery. I mean, they need to have 2 cups of coffee to calm them down. It's just the way that they operate. So now he goes and he opens that drawer. And what happened then from your side, Daniel?
Wasn't him. Wasn't Simon.
Wasn't Simon.
That's sort of like wasn't Simon, and he sort of hesitated to look, and because it could have been a reality if it was Simon.
Sort of like, look there from the one side.
Yes, shall I look, and then it wasn't Simon. So that's a big relief for him, I would say. But yeah.
Correct. And then he went to the next stage. Then he went to the state, the missing persons on South State, and 0. He found nobody. I mean, nothing. So then eventually he goes back to the parking lot. What does he see again? The snow. The snow falling.
Snow. The gate that's Simon helped him up, push up, and we parked his car. So yeah, I think it's going back now. It's sort of like, okay, now he doesn't know.
Correct.
So there's still that question: is where the hell is Simon?
But I want to.
I think he's sort of tracing back to back his steps now. It's like, well, if he's not in a police station, he's not in a hospital. If he's not in a morgue, then where's Simon? Yeah. Is this real or is it not real anymore?
Well, right now I don't even.
But it can't be. It can't not be not real because he's been there.
Correct. I want to read this one sentence. He says that I think of the day in the snow when a strange, beautiful man came into my life and held up the world in his bare hands for me. Oh, I thought that was so beautifully written, because remember, this Simon Potter got under that gate and pulled up the gate, held up the gate for him. But as he puts it, he held up the world in his bare hands for me. That hit me.
Yes.
That brought back thoughts and images from one of the other books from Simon. And I just said, wow, well, that's the way it is. But anyway, so now Al goes back to the office and people will go, what is wrong with you? Okay. And every morning when you walk to work, you cut through the parking lot, he's asking the other person now, have you seen this dude? And then in the middle of page
Yes.
81, can you read for us after he says yes? Every morning when you walk to the park, do you cut through the parking lot, yes or no?
Yeah, so he asks his lady is like, have you ever seen a strange old man around the parking lot? He wears a funny old clothes and usually is feeding the pigeons. He has long hair and beard, and he always has a basset hound with him. So he asked the lady Pat, or his people that actually worked for him, but he knows that stays in the area, that
Correct.
also walks to office. Have you ever seen this man? Because he knew that this his staff must have seen him, because they walk through the park and where Simon normally takes his dog for a walk. So
Right.
somehow, somewhere, they should have seen him.
And although she then shrugs her shoulders, says, no, we haven't, he goes further to explain, man, this dude
Yes.
sometimes wore a wooden cross around his neck.
Deeper.
Surely
Yes.
you have seen this guy. And she just shakes her head. And after she closed the door, I just sat there and I tried to collect my thoughts. Now I want to put you in that and myself in that position. Now we've had somebody that lives in the area and further describes it. He sometimes wear a cross around his neck, surely. And now you sit and you go like, no ways. I can't believe it. I just can't believe it. And it says, and I start asking questions. I'm chasing elusive and emphasized butterflies of irrational images. I'm trying to ignore the pain in my head and the pit of my stomach. Was I cracking up? I think I would have asked the same. He started doubting his own personhood. He started doubting that he was Og Mandino. He started doubting that he had his marbles together. And I think we have to just come to a point and say to the person listening in, you may be in there feeling like, am I losing it? Am I cracking up? Because situations can brings the worst out of all of us. We all deal with tension,
Yes.
and stress in a different way. And Daniel, isn't that true for people that you know?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, anything that's out of the ordinary is like as the saying is, you throw the spanner into the gears. I mean, the gears are not going to work so well when you do that. And when that's it's as you say, everybody takes it differently, and every situation affects every person differently. And in this case, he's really doubting himself. It's like, is this real? Is it not real? Is it me, or what has happened? And I think a lot of times we're in a places like, when we had to decide on things in our life of going forward, it's like, shall I do this? Shall I not do this? Is this me? Can I do this? Or we question ourselves, basically. That is what I think he's going through. He's questioning his past. It's like, did it really happen? Or am I dreaming? Or because it was so real, he can remember everything. He knows, he sees the cross, the guy with the beard, the dog, and everything goes through his mind, and it's vivid. And he's questioning himself, is like, did I now really experience this, or is this actually a dream or something else?
It is just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. So he challenges and he says, but listen, I can't lose it. I remember the lectures. I remember the ragpicker thing. There's no ways in hell I could have made that up in my own mind because,
Yes.
I'm the guy that has written the book. I never thought about ragpicker. I didn't even know the word. And I remember sitting and chatting to all the books. So to him, at least, reality came and said, I don't care what I've seen. I don't care what I've heard. I know it was real. I was in room 21.
Yeah.
I sat for hours speaking to this man. It was real to me. And I think that is the most important thing I took out of this. You need to affirm your own reality. Can I say that again? You and I need to affirm our own reality. Because other people might say, it's not this, it's not that, but you need to know that you know that you know. That's all that counts. And then he looks down, and what does he see in his hands? Daniel?
The envelope.
Page 82, he sees the brown envelope. And that's really what this entire book is about. And the envelope is there. The brown envelope with which is the only link to his proof. The proof that you really existed. And now you say to yourself, well, if this letter is from Simon, then my whole existence, my relationship with him was real. Because you know what?
Reality.
It's the only thing that connects us together, because he promised me that he would actually bring this envelope. So I just want to go to the bottom of page 82. It says, as I did so, a small object rolled from the envelope onto my desk. I picked it up, and a tiny safety pin attached to a small piece of white rag measuring approximately a half-inch square. Now just remember that, a tiny inch of a rag, white rag, that was onto the documentation. And he didn't realize what it was for then, but he just pushed it aside. He attached the paper clip that held the pages was a letter to him in the same handwriting in the envelope. And the letter was undated. So what did he know?
Yes.
This is definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, what
From Simon.
Simon Potter had sent him as a gift, like Simon said in the beginning of the book, for an old rag picker. And there we have it. The letter, at long last, is in the hands of Og Mandino. And you know what happened next? You're going to have to wait for the next chapter. I hope you enjoyed today.
And keep in mind the little and keep in mind the little pin with the rag. That plays a key role in the next chapter, I would say.
Absolutely. So, Daniel, my old question always is for you. What is your one takeaway out of this entire chapter 7 tonight? And then I'll share mine and we call it quits.
I would always say it's like life might be crazy and I would say all up and down and left and right sometimes, but always remember there's always a reason why it's like that. There's always a end. There's always hope. To the end of the day, there's a reason why things happen to you. There's a reason why you go through the struggles that you are now. It's preparing you for something different, something better, and for you to be to embrace that or get into that stage, you need to first be prepared to be able to accept that. So sometimes we go through bad things, like Og went through years, like he lost a friend, it was doesn't know where he is, and it brings him back to where he would have been, the envelope with what he was asking for. So it brings him back to where he needs to be. But for him to go through the bad stuff in the world, he had to go through to get to the good place.
And I want to agree with you. From my side, for me, it was this book just shows you whenever you're not sure of any circumstance, your proof becomes your reality. Because the fact that he found the envelope in his hand and he opened it and he saw this little piece of white rag, which he still didn't understand at that point in time. And that is just, this reminds me of Simon. And the truth is, your reality will rely on your proof. So we can't wait to see you next week as we rattle you through chapter number 8. Fantastic. Daniel, I want to thank you. I want to thank everybody else. Remember, just leave your comments in terms of what was your takeaway. And like always, and we will answer you and we'll get back to you. So from me, it's cheerio. Daniel, from you,